welcome to the Life and Listings podcast. I have Nikki joining us today. Hey, Nikki.
Hello.
So, for anybody that has not met you yet and is listening in to this podcast, can you tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're about?
So my name is Nikki Pais. I exclusively have a background in inside sales for real estate, meaning I work on the lead generation side of things. As of right now, digital maverick with Travis Halverson. And so we work with teams across the US and Canada to make sure that they are doing the lead conversion side of things, strategies that they need to get their database where it needs to be, and then making sure that we hold the agents accountable, we audit the opportunities we're sending them, and so forth.
Amazing. Love it. I also work with Nikki over there, so I love it. It's super fun. We're usually roommates at all the different traveling that we do. So one of the things that I thought, we can go a million different directions with this conversation because you're so talented. I don't even know how many databases across the country. I really want to talk about how, if a broker owner or an agent or whoever's owning that database currently, how can they find that low-hanging fruit in their database? What can they do? What kind of strategies can we give them?
So there's a series of things. And the one thing I always tell every CEO or agent that I'm working with is what I'm telling you might be a friendly reminder. It might not be the first time you've heard that thing, but if it is brand new, it only matters if you use what I tell you. So especially in Follow-Up Boss, your two best filters are last visit and last communication. And if you would spend time going last visit, new to old, regardless of what pond they are in, and after you have secured a lead, even in your own name, making sure that you're continuing to look at last visit, new to old, those are the people who are active. That's you not having to build a sense of engagement. They are engaged. The second thing that I would say is too many times we spend fishing, where we're looking for the opportunity, but then whenever it lead engages with us, which shows up in Follow-Up Boss in our inbox, we don't put the same priority to answering it. So we spend time chasing. Everybody in our inbox is chasing us. So at that point, we should equally say, whoever is here, I'm not going to lose the opportunity. These are the hottest people. Whoever's talking with me is most important.
Yeah. And I know we both love Follow-Up Boss, so we're going to keep talking Follow-Up Boss, but a lot of our listeners use that too. I always think it's a mistake when people don't have pixels on their website and they're not tracking those website visits because you're losing such like an invaluable piece of information. Like this person is they're on your website now or yesterday or 2 hours ago. So what kind of verbiage do you use with someone that might be on the website an hour ago that probably has no idea that they're even being tracked? So what kind of script or information would you give that person?
So if you are my person, Jennifer, and I'm calling you for the first time, I say, hey, Jennifer, this is Nikki out in Myrtle Beach. How are you? I encourage everybody to say location over the name of your brokerage, unless your brokerage is an identifiable team for your entire area that is well known. It is easier to establish who they're talking with quicker. Plus, everybody is not in your area. So when you call, if somebody is out of state and you say your area, it quickly. The other thing is that I've heard a lot of really experienced or talented coaches even say, let's shy away from the how are you. Too many times I have found that by skipping that one little question, I am tone deaf to somebody's situation. So if you say that you're doing well, I can move along just fine. But if you say that I've had better days or I'm not doing great, I'm going to ask explicitly and say, oh my gosh, what's going on? I have a better chance at converting the lead by taking that millisecond to be a human than to push into my own personal agenda of wanting to talk real estate. After you answer that question, my immediate second thing that I will say is beautiful. I am the one who is sending you listings. I'm double checking to see, are you still looking? It eliminates the chance to fight at the beginning. If I say you registered, you were looking, it's all too easy for you to say, no, I wasn't. No, I'm not. And then all of a sudden we're in a disagreement and it's been 30 seconds into a call, 10 seconds into a call. So from the question at the end of saying that, your worst case scenario is that the person on the other side tells you, I'm not getting anything, or I didn't see it. And I say, that's funny. On my end, it looks like I'm sending them. I'll get them fixed up before the end of the call. Tell me, were you looking at a place for yourself or an investment property? And then we're into criteria. So that simple intro, it's so much easier and eliminates a lot of the hiccups where people are over explaining. And I just want to get to the good stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you dropped a couple little really important nuggets there, right? You're not even asking this person. If you called your grandma, you would ask her how her day was, right? You'd figure out what's going on so you can start a real conversation. Maybe you were calling for a different reason than to just check in, but you're still going to say, how are you? So if this person instantly starts with, I'm having an awful day, your conversation might be a little bit different, or that might actually lead into the reason why they're looking at houses, right? Someone could have passed away. There could have been something happen with their kids. You wouldn't know that unless you asked that important little bit of information.
Mm-hmm. And especially in Myrtle Beach, the average age out here is over 60. So talk about a population that is experiencing grief on a semi-regular basis. They have medical issues. They have things that have happened with their family or loss. And so that one little beat is better than me trampling into this conversation. And I have people say, you have no idea what type of day I'm having. You only need that mistake a couple of times to learn, to say, yeah, it would have been better if I asked. And the other thing that I want to stress to us is, you just said, when you do call your grandma, for example, you don't say the reason for my call is, right? We know what we're getting into. And I don't say, would it be okay if we go to the movies this weekend? Those are not expressions we use. So keeping that vocabulary really low defense, low pressure, that's going to make the other person with less mental hurdles. And don't remind them they're on a sales call. Were you looking to purchase property? Gross. Let's take out those sort of sales words.
Yeah, because we are all like hardwired at this point. I know I am. Instantly, I pick up the phone and I can just hear their tone of voice. I can hear the first thing that comes out of their mouth, and I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
sales call. I don't want anything that you're calling me with. So you want to lead in with a little bit of warmth so they go, oh, wait, do I know this person? Do I want to know this person? Let's talk about some of these filters, right? And you can do this. You obviously need probably some sort of CRM. You could probably do this with an Excel sheet, possibly. But let's talk about if you're a team leader, a broker owner, and you're trying to spot those like holes or missed opportunities in your database. Are these the two filters that you're looking at a higher level?
Yes. The other thing that I would be stressing to the person leadership who is keeping their team accountable for this is that once they are in the agent, I am also looking to make sure that the last communication with any agent is not more than 30 days. After 30 days, you have no idea where the lead is at. We have lost touch. And that's the truth. Too many things happen in that amount of time. The only other thing that I might stress for a CEO to be checking is that from the attempts, are they getting to a 2-minute conversation? Because if they're talking to a lead for 30 seconds, but it says that they did that yesterday, that is not a meaningful conversation that took place. So if you want to ensure that the needle is being put, double check there. Did they have a minimum of a 2-minute conversation? And did they send a text message after every single call that they placed?
Okay. What do you put in the text messages after a phone call?
It always needs to end with a question. But the truth is, I'll never run out of things to ask. Criteria wise, we could get into the nitty gritty always. Are you open to carpet or this? Do we need a garage space, HOA maximum I should be aware of, et cetera, but also with motivation, right? I meant to ask, would you be open to this instead? I know that this was important to you because of XYZ. What if XYZ takes place? And if I know that you have a pet, Jennifer, I'm going to mention that too. Not every text has to be real estate, but I will go and intentionally look for a video that has your dog type in it. And if it's a Doberman, for example, then I'm sending a Doberman video and saying, saw this, made me think of you. Those are like extra little touch points that we can add. And at the end of a conversation, it's more natural to say, I'm still thinking about you. Let me send a message and keep the thoughts going.
And I think there's different layers to it, right? If we're talking you as an ISA making such a meaningful thing of understanding what type of pets they have, that's such great information to pass to the agent when you've set the appointment for them because they're going to have so much more information. I know one of the best closing gifts I've ever sent, and it was like the cheapest thing, right? So affordable. I knew that this lady had a dog that she would loved. And so for closing, I went and got her a new dog tag with the new address on it. Gold.
Oh, that's so good.
Gold.
Yeah.
Those are like $5,
Yeah.
right? Like, but that little thing, like I knew she had a pet. Obviously, we all know, anybody that's listening to this knows I'm an animal person. So I know what type of animals everyone has. But like little pieces of information like that are not only going to get you convert that lead, but it's going to bring repeat business.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Are there specific questions that you ask about like how do you start that conversation to learn that they have a pet or a kid, or what type of personal questions are you asking on some of these calls? I'm sure it depends, but
So specifically there, I say, I've heard too many agents say, are there any decision makers? And again, that's leading with an agent agenda. That's what I want to know. That's not what you naturally think about when you're planning on making a move. So I say, is anybody making this move with you? That's the vaguest version that gets the most amount of information. I don't say, do you have family making the move? Again, that could be a mistake depending on where somebody is in life. But once I say, is anybody making this move with you? Most people do tend to describe the whole group that's moving. It's me, my elderly mother, my husband, my 2 kids, and we have a dog. Okay, great. It's say it, excellent. I will also ask if we get through the people. I'll say, okay, any pets that I should be aware of? Because I know that those are also family members for families who have them. So,
yeah. And it's good information to have. It's sometimes completely necessary depending on what type of place that they're purchasing, whether there's an HOA or it's a condo or whatever that is. Like sometimes you do need to know pets because it might determine where they can actually go. So I wanted to pivot a little bit. And obviously, Nikki and I work together on a pretty regular basis. And I picked this up on just, we have a forum that comes up, and she wanted to share that opportunity doesn't find you, you have to make it happen. And I thought that was so powerful. And I wanted to dig into that a little bit today, Nikki.
mhm. The thing that I conclude every meeting that I have with the team is to tell them, don't wait for something to happen, go and make it happen. Too many times we conclude conversations and you hear it over and over. If you see something you like, you just let me know and we'll set up tours and I can't wait. And when we do that, we move into the passenger seat. We say, you let me know if we're driving, and if not, I'll just sit right here. And we don't actually ask for the next step. The truth is that the top agent in every single team, regardless of what market they are in, the one thing they have in common is that they have the most number of touches per lead. So when you're thinking about, oh, I'm afraid of bothering, or I don't think anybody's doing anything right now because you're not engaging with them, is the truth. It's not that they're not doing anything. It's that we're not doing anything. Somewhere along the way, we either got afraid or we lost our passion for what got us here in the first place. And so I really want to remind everybody, when we talk with our leads, what we are actually doing is determining what our individual life is going to look like as well. So when we stop being curious about others, we're equally losing curiosity in the life that we could potentially have. So I really want everyone to stick with, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to be the agent they choose to work with. I'm going to ask the right questions. People want to work with who they like. And if you are not asking the right questions to understand them, how on earth are they ever supposed to become comfortable with you or to like you?
And I like what the word curious that you're using there, right? Because I don't think that's used enough when we're talking conversion and leads, because people can tell if you're just trying to sell
Oh, yeah.
or you're truly curious about what they're doing, their move, what they want, what they like, what they don't like, all of those things. And I think that's probably where it lands, is like the right level of curiosity, not just the scripts. Do you actually care about the outcome? Do you see the opportunity there? And are you making enough attempts and touches? Because how many times do you see on average an agent reaches out? How many touches would you say is average and then they just give up?
I would say 3 is the average, but we would encourage everybody to do a minimum of 6 on 6 different days. That's just one bonus note, guys.
I was gonna say 3 too. I was like, I think this okay. And do you think that's 3 calls or is it like call, text, email?
Oh, yeah. It's like I sent a text this day. A month later, I sent a text and I called that day. So those are my 3 touches. And like, I'm done because they haven't talked to me. And let's revisit this. And what you're saying about the curiosity aspect, it is at that moment where we are focused on our own agenda, right? It's that break in the development of the relationship. And when you are inconsistent in your follow up, just like a friendship, people do start to wonder, do I have more importance in this relationship, or well, they weren't thinking about me, and so on. So those are things that we can eliminate with consistent follow-up. And the curiosity, I always tell agents, we can feel your commission breath. We feel it in the words that you say. And it's so apparent when you're pushing somebody towards finance questions in the first 2 minutes of a conversation, or somebody tells you their timeline is too far out and you want to get them with a lender. Let's back up. That doesn't sound anything like what's in line with what this person needs. We don't convince people to make moves. The truth is that over time, people reveal to themselves that they are ready. We get further along with the right questions. So I'm not convincing anybody of anything.
Love it. So good. And this is a funny question to ask Nikki, and I'm not even going to share why, but we were just at Tahoe the other day asking the similar thing. But we're going to pivot a little bit. And Nikki, I'm going to ask you, what's your superpower?
Not a fictional superpower.
Not a fictional, not like what would you dream of having? And that's the funny conversation that we had a couple weeks ago was like we all had a fictional super. What do you feel are you really good at or excel at?
If I'm being perfectly transparent with you, I believe that my superpower is to make others feel that they can have their fullest life. I've had people who are closest to me tell me that's the experience, right? That I don't let life settle into a comfortable place. I believe that there's more experiences to be had and that I could have a full life. I believe that everybody could have it. And so anybody who spends a lot of time with me, I think that's the takeaway, to say you could also have that really full life, and not because I'm convincing you, but because I believe it. And so I think that's the power, to give a little bit of that infection into somebody else.
I love it. That's such a good one. I do think that's true. You're so much fun to be around and you're like always up for anything. This has been so good. Anybody that is listening in, if they want to get in touch with you to get help with their database, or if they just want to follow what you're doing, where's the best place to send them?
My phone number is, no, just kidding. Y'all, if you have any questions related to conversion, what do I say for this objection, or auditing your database, please reach out to me on Facebook or on Instagram. My handle is Nikki the Writer. I've always been obsessed with words, y'all, so it doesn't change. And then on Facebook, it's Nikki Chanel Pais.
Amazing. This has been so good. Thanks for joining us today and have a lovely day.
Thank you for having me. I'll see you soon.